Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I did something yesterday that I had done here in the last week or so. Every time I do it, I really enjoy it, and that is I went into one of the Ledger Nano S's and I moved some digital assets from the Ledger Nano S to an exchange. The reason I enjoy doing this is because every time that I get to see the movement of XRP and how you can move value as fast as you can. I mean, it literally happens in all of 2 seconds. And I was on the phone with the person I was sending this to, and every person to a man, every time this is done, they're just blown away by what they have just seen. The idea that whether it's $1 or $1 million, that amount of funds can move, or the equivalent of that amount of funds can move in 2 seconds, just like that, is world changing, and it hits a lot of people when you do it. And so I like to do it. I like to do it, and I like to hear the response from people who haven't seen that happen yet. It's really neat. Okay, first thing I've got here is from C3 Nick, at C3_Nick. Give him a follow. U.S. Faster Payments Council announces first elected board of directors. On May 20th, 2019, the U.S. Faster Payments Council released the results of its first member election for its board of directors. It includes Pat Thielen of Ripple, and here's the he's got a link to the article on that and a little screenshot here. So that's big right there, folks, but I wanted to show you that. Okay, next, this is from InMotion XRP Travel, at InMotion Travel sent me this. You know, you've heard a lot about the Bitcoin pizza guy. He was covered on 60 Minutes this past weekend about how he spent 10,000 Bitcoin on a pizza, which would be the equivalent of $800 million in today's dollars. And so the InMotion Travel sent me this link, and it is a link to the actual 10,000 Bitcoin transaction. I'm sure that the guy from that 60 Minutes piece that has never gone and looked at this, because it would probably make him throw up on his keyboard. But this is the actual transaction. I believe it's from May 22nd of 2010 is when the transaction occurred. And he got a pizza for $800 million. That's depressing. Okay, this was a tweet from Max Kaiser. Now, he's a Bitcoin guy, but he's also a very smart guy in terms of the economy. And he has a show on RT, and I'm going to show you something about that here in a second. Bitcoin is up 172,726% since 2012, while the Argentine peso has lost 90% and the Turkish lira 70% of its value. Fiat currencies will always lose their value over time, folks. Digital assets will not, because they are in limited supply, and that supply will get more limited if for no other reason than because people will lose their private keys, and so digital assets will be lost forever. Okay, and next, while I was on Max Kaiser, I wanted to show you this, and what this is. Max Kaiser and the lady that is his sidekick, I think it might be his wife, I can't remember. Her name is Stacy. I think her name is Stacy Herbert, but I want to say somewhere I saw where they were actually married or something. Anyway, on RT, they have done a series of shows called To the Moon, and they take you back from the creation of Bitcoin, and then they take you to the years that followed. This is 2010, 2011, 2013, and then they here's 2014, but they take you through the early years of Bitcoin and what it was like back then. And so for those of you that have just gotten involved in this, it's a really good thing for you to see. I got involved back in 2013, 14, and it was a lot scarier times back then. And for you to go and see what it was like then versus what it's like now, I believe will really put things in perspective for you in terms of how far along we are and how this thing is here to stay now. The genie's out of the bottle and is not going back in. I've said it many times. Back then, you didn't even know if they were going to declare it illegal. If today was the day that your investment was gone because they would declare it illegal. We don't have that concern anymore. I believe Bob Way, that was one of the first Ripple employees, he said that the people at Ripple did not know if today was the day that the feds were going to kick their doors in and put them out of business. That's what it was like. Okay, let me get rid of that. And then NBK Crypto sent me this, at NBKLYRAD. Sent me this. Now, this is something I've been talking about a lot. When the time came and things started to get exciting, I've said for a long time that you would see all the traditional financial news media outlets as well as traditional finance themselves. They will be the biggest cheerleaders for Bitcoin and digital assets of anyone, including me. And I believe you're starting to see that now. This is a segment that CNBC did yesterday. These are the next big catalysts for the Bitcoin rally. And this is on CNBC Television's YouTube channel if you want to go watch it. But the points that they're making is about the coming Bitcoin boom is that institutional adoption is finally about to happen. They mentioned specifically that retail is about to get in the game, and they specifically mentioned TD Ameritrade in what I talked about yesterday. And then they also mentioned the supply cut coming, the Bitcoin halving that happens, I believe, in 2020 is when that happens. But they talk about how the supply is going to be cut, thus driving the price of Bitcoin up. And they could not be more right about this. That's the only reason I have some Bitcoin. Okay. Next, let me get rid of that. Okay, from Crypto Utility Guy at Utility Guy 7 sends this. Now this is from CNBC's Fast Money. Now these were not the kind of things that they were putting out in 2018 while we were in this bear market. But now when they're talking about how we're about to talk about Bitcoin, talking Bitcoin soon, boom, like this is all exciting. Well, they weren't acting like this back then. All of a sudden, the cheerleading is beginning, okay? And this is not a coincidence. I believe this has all been planned for a long time. Okay, and let's see. Let me get rid of that. And then also, from Cameron Winklevoss, this is the second day in a row I've seen a tweet of his that I liked. He says, a lot of smart people thought their way out of crypto. Make sure you don't outsmart yourself. What this reminds me of, and I'll give a shout out here, for those of you that don't subscribe to Jungle Inc. He's Jungle Inc. on YouTube. Jungle Inc. was one of the guys that inspired me to start my channel. Jungle Inc. is not only does he do a good job on YouTube, but he's also a very nice guy. I've messaged back and forth with Jungle Inc. over the last year or so, and what I found out is that he is just a nice, genuine guy. And so what this reminds me of when he says a lot of smart people have thought their way out of crypto, Jungle Inc. jokes around about one of his friends named Billy, and he tells his audience, don't be a Billy, because Billy was one of those guys that sold XRP way too early and has regretted it ever since. And so don't be a Billy. He even has a hashtag, don't be a Billy. Okay. Next, from XRP Crypto Wolf. Israeli court rules Bitcoin as an asset. An Israeli Central District Court ruled in favor of the country's tax authority, recognizing BTC as a financial asset and not a currency. Profits on its sale in Israel are therefore subject to capital gains tax. So Israel, some of the smartest people in the world, they are getting their regulations in order. So this tells you, folks, the regulations are being ironed out all around the world. The United States, the IRS just announced that they are ironing out their regulations in response to Congress asking them to do so. We are about to be in a position for a major blast off, folks. Okay, I wanted to give a shout out also to Crypto Man. Crypto Man has just put out, he says, XRP community, it's here, XRP community print 2. And this print has 1,200 people in it, and I'd like to give a special thanks to this guy for allowing me to use his art of the XRP ledger. Now, this was a piece of art that was done that symbolized the XRP ledger a while back, and what the Crypto Man has done is put a lot of the XRP communities in the photo, and so now he's got this one for sale. But I wanted to give a shout out to Crypto Man because he had sent me one of his first prints that he did, and so I am in the process of getting that framed, and I really appreciate that. And so go and he tells you here, he says, please do not forget when you place an order that I am wanting to donate 10% to charity. Please make a comment in the order of who you would like to donate to. I've got 1,200 people in this design, and I will be making another one in the future. So if you missed this one, DM me. Now you can go to his website here. He's at Crypto Man. That's CRYPTOEMAN.com. That's where his website is, and you can go and order these. But it's not just these. He sells all sorts of products. He sells look, he's got these soccer shirts. He's got a collared shirt. I like that one. He's got baby clothes. He's got socks. In David we trust. In Brad we trust. He's got XRP socks. He's got paintings. Really awesome. I'm going to get a lot of his stuff when the time comes. I'm going to outfit my mansion with a lot of his stuff when the time comes. And the time is coming, folks. Okay. Finally, I saw this from Real Time Crypto. Crypto exchange CoinHood files for bankruptcy and alleged exit scam. Now, what this reminds me of is this happened to me and my family. Back in 2013, we were buying digital assets through a website called, I'm drawing a blank on what it was called back. That thing was called Cryptsy. It was CRYPTSY.com. Cryptsy looked legit. Everybody, we would buy things on there. It all looked completely legit. And then one day when the market started to come down, the founder disappeared to China. He's never been seen again. He was sued. He would probably be arrested if he was ever found. To this day, he's in China and he's living on the lam. And but all of the people that had their digital assets at Cryptsy lost every bit of it. Some of my family members and friends lost what they had. And what happened was this whole thing got tied up in a bankruptcy proceeding, and most people never saw anything. The attorneys probably got plenty, but most people never saw anything. If you have digital assets, you keep them on your ledger, on a Ledger Nano S. It's the only safe way. It's the way I do it. It's the way most of the people I know do it that are just average retail investors. You can get a Ledger Nano S in the description of every video probably that I've ever done, and get one directly from the company. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe and hit the like button and tell your friends and family. Do not leave your digital assets on an exchange. Thanks for listening.